Hey everybody, happy Monday. So I'm hopping on here to do my 25 days of Christmas. So like I have been mentioning, I'm gonna do some kind of project every day. And today we're going to talk about the Bottlebrush tree and coming up with some different ways or different bases that you can use on these trees, and just how to attach it to a vehicle, because that is super popular right now. And I'm sure some of you, when you do that, you just are putting it on there for Christmas, and maybe you're leaving it. It's not a vehicle, a truck that you leave out all of the time. And so that way you can put it in your tote or whatever you use to store your holiday stuff, and it's not going to fall apart or anything happen to it and they get mixed up. So we'll start with that first. A lot of the Bottlebrush trees that I have these like fake plastic snow pieces on them, and they're not my favorite. They're not the most attractive. And then I have just a couple that already had wood bottoms to them. So I bought them off of two different companies. I much prefer the wooden bottom ones. But with these plastic ones, it's really easy to just pop them off. Sometimes they fall off without you even trying. And then you're left with the wire. This one has a chunk of glue on it. And then you can put that wire pretty much in anything to make it look cute. So you could put a different base on it before you put it onto a vehicle if you wanted. This one, I just left the white snow base on it, and you can see that it's staying on there. And so what I have done with this, and I actually ran this one through the windows because the plastic has melted at some point, so there was an opening, is I just used fishing wire or line. And this is just some old stuff that we had lying around, and so that's what I use to tie it on. So same with this one. So you can do any size. You can find any little Bottlebrush tree. And I was looking on Pinterest, and you can also make your own Bottlebrush tree, which I thought was very interesting. They used anything from like twine to yarn to a whole bunch of things. So who knows, maybe that will be one of our projects. So you don't have to take a traditional red truck and put the tree in the back of it. This fire truck would look super cute with a Bottlebrush tree on it. I've got this little wagon, and this would look really cute with a tree on it. And so, don't limit yourself to just a little truck. So all you would do for this is just cut yourself a piece of fishing line. I would go bigger than you need, because I'm sure all of us have wrapped Christmas presents or any kind of present, and you're doing the ribbon and then you didn't really leave yourself enough, and trying to tie it off is really hard. So the nice thing about this is that you can pick the side of the tree that looks the best. You can put it, scoot it to the front, scoot it to the back, whatever you need to. I like the fishing line because you can't see it. But your tree is secure. So that is an option, okay? And then another option would be to use some kind of twine, or you can even use, hi Company Field Homestead from Canada. Hi Nelda, hi Malia. You could use some kind of little string like this, because this is very pretty and decorative. And so you could do something that coordinated with the vehicle that you were going to put it on. So that's an easy thing to do with some of these old vehicles. Okay, if you've been following me for very long, you know that I have a ton of old shoes, and they have really sold very well, but some of it is coming up with a cute way to display it. And I come up with I don't even know what kind of moss this stuff is, but sticking that down inside the shoe, or this kind of moss, that helps them sell during Halloween, or sticking a little pumpkin on top helps the shoes sell for Halloween, because it gives you an idea of how you could use that or display that in your home. So if we take one of these trees that I've already popped off the bottom, and this one has a big chunk of glue that I can't pull off. You could find a tree that is proportional to the shoe and stick a little tree in it. You know, some of the trees have the little mini bulbs already in them, and honestly, I think I can envision that being super cute in this shoe. Now, these chunks of wire are not long enough to just stay securely in the shoe. So one idea is to take an old cork, because I always have corks for projects, and you can just basically stab the little wire tree into your cork. And the thing with the wire is that you can always rebend it so your tree's straight. Pretty up our bristles. So that gives us a little tree trunk. That itself you can set on, you know, a shelf or something with your tree, and the cork is going to serve as your tree trunk. So that is an easy way to do a trunk, but it also gives us something that is more secure, so that the Bottlebrush tree will actually stay in our shoe. So add a few little ornaments to that, or some little tinsel, some red, or give it some color if you like color. And then there you have your little repurposed shoe as the base of the Christmas tree. And you could do the same thing with this one. So with the corks, you just want to take into consideration probably the size of cork. And like that last cork that I had, it was had seen better days. So here is one that's newer, and it's a little bit bigger, but it is going to be in proportion to this tree. And this tree also has quite a bit of glue stuck to the bottom. And so then we're just going to stab it into the cork, and you could use something else to do that if you wanted. And then you have, we'll see if it's gonna balance. You have a little tree trunk for your tree. Hi Marilyn, hi Chas. Have you seen the pincushion ones? I have not. I'll have to put that on Pinterest search and see what it comes up with. So as the pincushion comes down here and you just stab the Bottlebrush tree in it. I'm curious. So corks work really well too, and you don't have to just do the bigger ones. I have a bunch of, this is not gonna come off, there we go. I have a bunch of little, what I would call baby corks, and we can do the same thing. Now, what you could do, and I thought I had one lying around here somewhere, was take a safety pin. This one's a teeny tiny guy, but you could, you know, start your hole at least. You'd need probably a bigger one than what I got going on here. I'm gonna make a little like snowflake thing with it, just to kind of make it easier to get the Bottlebrush tree started in there. But I mean, look at that little guy, super cute. You could set him up with your Santa mugs, any other Christmas stuff you have on display. Okay, then I'm sure tons of us have lots of wooden spools lying around, and you can do the same thing. This one has actually been glued to something. I had a different project, and then I dismantled it. And so what you would do for this one, or you could do for this one, just peeling off the hot glue. That's a perk to hot glue. If you use hot glue for projects, is that you can dismantle things fairly easily just by peeling off that hot glue. So if you don't want, and same thing with, what do you call it? A hot glue, yeah, hot glue gun, that's what I'm thinking. Oh, brother Brooke. E6000 glue is another type of glue that I really like to use, and that will not peel apart like a hot glue gun will, okay? So you need to take that into consideration when you're deciding what you're going to do. So these holes are too big. That was the whole point of me getting sidetracked, because look how little this is and look how big that is. So it's not going to stay in there. So we have to fill it with something. I really was trying to get some mounting putty that was brown, but in Little Centerville, Iowa, I couldn't find any. So this is the kind of stuff that we would use when I was teaching to hang posters on the wall and different things on the wall. So it's something that you can purchase and then have it around and then use it. Or if you were just wanting something quick and you have kids and they have Play-Doh, you could use Play-Doh pretty easily. So you're gonna get some and stick it into that hole. And the bad thing about the blue is that you have the chance of seeing it. And then we're just going to stick our tree in there. And so then you have your little tree with a different style of trunk. So it just kind of depends on what you want. And I probably needed to put more putty in it. On what you want as your base, as what you have lying around. I am super big on not spending money for a project because, you know, all these Pinterest projects are like, oh, well, you know, this is just stuff you'd have lying around. And, you know, in theory, it might be things that you have lying around, but it never seems to work out that way. Let's see if I can get that one off. And I bought these to resell, but I would really like to find some that has longer wire on them because I like the look of having like a chunk of wire showing here between the base and the tree. But none of them that I carry have that. So that's something that I'm going to definitely be on the lookout. Yeah, Malia, my brain doesn't work very well sometimes. Yes, Bottlebrush trees. And did you guys see when I shared that Bottlebrush wreath? The history on these are they really were toilet bowl brushes, but like during the war, they had to they redid the factory or changed it or whatever to make these trees during the war. So I thought that was interesting. So kind of the same thing as what we did on the wooden spool is I just have a bunch of old doorknobs that don't have the metal piece in them. They're just the knobs left over. And so kind of the same concept, we can stick some putty down in there and then stab our tree. And again, if you don't have any of this putty, you can always just use Play-Doh or, I don't know, do you guys have any other ideas besides Play-Doh? Hi, Kara. So I'm gonna shove that in there a little bit farther. But the nice thing is that you should be able to fish this out if you decide that you want to reuse your doorknob for something or that spool. Must have got it in there pretty good. Okay, so you got another opportunity or a different kind of base for your Bottlebrush tree. Glass knobs look really pretty like these. The glass knobs that I have left in the shop though, I think have the bar with them, so I didn't want to use one of those. So we've got a metal doorknob as an option. Another thing is I have a lot of wooden poles and kind of the same size, theory, idea with the knob as with everything else. The hole is a little bit too big, so you're gonna have to have something in it to hold the wire a little bit tighter. And again, if you could get this in brown, it would probably be better because then you don't have any risk. Oops, I just pulled it out. You don't have any risk of seeing it. And this is not something that you want to get stuck in your carpet. This Bottlebrush tree is smashed pretty good. It's seen better days. Okay, but again, a cute, different base. You can set these all over your shelf, your buffet table, wherever you are decorating for Christmas. Okay, so we've got one more idea for you, and these are just wooden blocks. Now, I picked these because they are a pattern, block. But I mean, when I buy old stuff, I didn't even assume that it was actually going to make something. So I have a bunch of these pattern pieces, like one side is red and you got brown on one side and green on one side. I have no idea what it would have made. I don't think I've ever seen pictures of a wooden block puzzle actually put together or executed. So what I did, like I thought this side was super cute with the clock. And so I drilled a little hole in the wood, and I didn't even try it, so hopefully it actually will fit and is the right size. If it's not the right size, then I would just need to, it's gonna work. So I probably would actually add some putty into there maybe, or even you could do some hot glue, or if you're gonna leave them like this for eternity, you could use some E6000 glue because it's not completely a tight fit, but I just think that that looks cute. And so you could do that with a bunch of your blocks. You could do it where it says Christmas or home or joy, Noel, you know, something depending on what blocks you have, and that would definitely Christmas it up. You could add some miniature bulbs in here to give it some color, or do a little like tinsel and use it like garland, because that kind of would be a proportional size to these little Bottlebrush trees. So hopefully that gives you some ideas. Let's see, Leanna says you can slightly untwist the wire and pull out as much needles as you want. Okay, that's a good idea. So she's given us the idea of if you untwist this, which I can't because this one is like massively glued at the bottom, but that's how you make these, is basically you have a wire and a wire, so kind of like a U shape of a wire, and then you have all these bristles are laid down, or yarn or twine or whatever you have, and then you twist the wire at both ends to make the tree. So she's saying untwist it a little bit, get rid of some of the bristles so that I can have a longer stem, which is a great idea. So thanks for sharing that. But we're doing 25 days of Christmas, so I'm gonna hop on here live every day, including Christmas, and do a little DIY project. So the weather's supposed to be like 10, 15 degrees warmer tomorrow. And I need to decorate my truck this week and my porch this week. So those are two things that are on the agenda while the weather is a little bit nicer. So see you guys next time.